A lot go on over the last year, so I have gone into a hibernation of healing. But I really feel called to come back and start making videos again. So, hi. um, I've gone through a huge healing process. I've learned so much about myself. I've learned a lot about the process of ascension, about meditation, about healing myself, and I feel called to share that information with those of you out there that need to hear it. I just keep getting the message that there are people out there that need my help, and I want to help those people. So if you're those people, I'm so glad you found me. If you are not those people, then as you listen to the videos, you're probably going to find yourself feeling a lot of doubt, questioning what I'm saying, um, or even wanting to put comments that are negative on the channel. And I am going to ask you, instead of doing that, please just close the video and go somewhere else. Watch a video that does resonate with you. Watch a video that you are drawn to. If you're here and you're watching the video and it's resonating with you, then you're in the right place. And thank you for taking the time to come here and listen to my videos. So, first of all, I just wanted to give a little background. I'm in a meditative position, sitting here on my bed. I have my comfy pillow. Sometimes I meditate here. Sometimes I meditate on the floor. And this is my meditation spot down here. So depending on what my day is like, I might meditate just the 2 times, and I usually sit on my floor pillow. And I'll probably go ahead and record that. Those sessions are an hour, and I don't say anything. I'm not going to guide anything. We'll see if I decide to do some longer meditative videos in the future. But I do dedicate 2 hours a day, one in the morning as soon as I wake up, and one in the evening sometime before I go to bed, to meditating. This is a newer practice. I started doing it after I came back from the meditation retreat. I learned Vipassana meditation, the technique that is taught by ascension, and I really resonated with that technique. So I've adopted it into my everyday practice, and the recommended practice is 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening, and also to utilize that practice during the process of going to sleep. And I do all of those things. And I also have found, in the amount of time I've been doing it, I have experienced great benefit. The method works for me. I really committed myself during the 10-day meditation retreat to understanding, and I may have even dedicated myself to overstanding, to the point where I had to just kind of shut my brain off and stop trying to understand what I was doing and just do it. This process isn't going to be something that everyone resonates with. If you resonate with it, I suggest that you look into it, and I'll put the link in the description for the video. It's dhamma.org. They offer their 10-day, the 10 days, the minimum amount of time that is recommended that you dedicate to learning the technique. So this is 9 days of silence. Actually, it's 10 days of silence. On the 10th day, the vow of silence is broken. I have chosen not to speak specifically about my personal experience because it is not recommended. Each person needs to have their own particular experience. And if you go into a meditation retreat like this with some expectation of outcome or some preconceived definition of what it is, it can really impact your experience, because you'll find inside of the experience Instead of experiencing, you're thinking, oh, is this what I'm supposed to be thinking? Is this how I'm supposed to be feeling? Is this supposed to be happening? And the bottom line is, if it's happening with and for you, then yes, the answer is yes, it's supposed to be happening. But, we have a tendency in this society, culture, life, to question things that feel different and that are different from mainstream. And I will say that now. I am different from mainstream. I am not mainstream. I have been in a hibernation mode for almost a year. And that means that I don't have social interaction with a whole lot of people outside of my cat. And my cat is usually like right here. So if he wakes up and walks across the screen, then you can say hi. I have a really deep connection with animals, with the Mother Earth, with plants, trees. I have come to understand that I was probably a tree in my last life. I am an extremely passionate tree hugger. So anyway, it doesn't really matter what I am. What matters is that I am here to share what I'm being guided to share. And recently it has been deep healing. So for example, I have spent today, aside from my 2 hours of meditation, I probably spent 2 additional hours just healing with myself, working with myself to heal things. And I've really come to understand, as I said, the process of ascension, which the Vipassana meditation is geared towards helping individuals understand how to attain liberation. Now, the difference between liberation and ascension is presented a bit differently depending on who you ask. So my understanding of the difference is that when you are liberated, you come to a point where you do not react with any negative judgment. And instead of having reaction, you have, I'm not even sure. Instead of reacting, you just observe. That's really what it is. So observing from a perspective of love. And as I've gone through a steady journey towards, with the intent of attaining liberation or ascension at some point, and just really, I've always said, I want to be the best me that I can be. That has been my goal. So I've learned a lot of energy techniques, meditation techniques. I've gone through a lot of processes in an attempt to help myself. So now that I've helped myself to a certain point, I feel confident that not only can I am called to help others. So I decided to just bite the bullet and go for it. And so here I am. So then ascension would be getting to a point, which this is really interesting and also somewhat complex for the human brain to even comprehend. The idea of a person being a self or a me or I, it goes along with the idea that we are all separate beings. My cat is separate from me, the trees outside are separate from me, the Mother Earth is separate from me, my father is separate from me, my son is separate from me. That's the idea. Each one of us is separate. Now, in actuality, we are not separate. We are all one, which is why some of us, like me, are able to easily tap into what's called the collective conscious, and it contains all of the knowledge that there is. And this is a abstract idea for some people, and it's not going to resonate with everyone. So if you're finding yourself getting triggered while you listen to what I'm saying, I would please ask you to just turn the video off. Don't come back and watch my videos because you're not going to like my videos. And have your opinions and your reactions somewhere else. I'm going to leave the comments open for now. I would like to know, those of you that are drawn here, those of you that are resonating with what I'm saying, I would like to know what you have to say, what you would like to hear, what your reactions are in general. However, I am not going to allow any negative comments to inhibit other people's experience on this channel. So please, if you're having trigger moments and you can't deal with them or you don't want to, then don't. Just go. And if it becomes a problem, I will just disable the comments in general. Keep that in mind, please. Anyway, so ascension is coming to a complete understanding with the fact that you are not separate and that you are one. So what I was saying before is those of us who are resonating on a higher frequency, a higher vibration, and some will start their lives this way, they will always be this way, and then some will decide to learn, and then there are a lot of levels in between. So I can tell you from my experience, I've always been a highly sensitive person and highly empathic, and I've always had very strong intuition to the point where if I connect with a person in a strong soul connection, I can easily share telepathic messages with them. And in the past, this ability has upset people that I've known. It's not usually something, I don't do it on purpose. I don't sit here and say, oh, okay, I want to know what my dad's thinking right now, and then try to get in on that. Instead, I end up usually anticipating people's needs, understanding when someone needs my help, answering questions before they're asked, that sort of thing, just kind of being a little bit ahead of the person. Like, one of my best friends came over and I had been thinking about her. She and I had been talking on Messenger, and then she came over and I knew everything she was going to say, everything she wanted to talk about, and I had some special messages for her, just things that she needed to hear, and one of those things was just, I'm so proud of you. So keep that in mind. You know, you may experience, if you're drawn here, you probably do experience things that are synchronistic, where you're thinking about someone and they call you, or you're thinking about someone and they text you, or someone from your past pops into your mind and the next day you get some sort of communication, something happens. You know, you could know that someone that you love is in danger, something is happening, they need you, they need help. I lost my cat for several hours yesterday. And I was so exasperated because I was afraid he'd gotten out of the house, and it's not safe for him. He doesn't even have front claws to be out of the house. So after I looked and looked and looked and looked, I was so exasperated, and the whole time I'd just kind of been calling out to him in my head because I can always find him anywhere. He's always near me. We have such a strong connection, and it was not typical for him to just not show up. So the more concerned I was getting, the more I was calling out to him, and he ended up crying out until he was found. But that's a good example there too. It doesn't have to be a human. He can't speak English, but he and I communicate probably better than I do with most humans. So anyway, on the path to an enlightened being, you're gonna find things start to get what I heard someone recently just call woohoo. Like, things get kind of like woo, what was that? Did that really happen? Did you see that? And you can sit there and doubt it and just discount it and say, that's witchcraft, or that's crazy, or I'm crazy, or whatever it is. Or you can just calm down and feel it. So most of this practice of Vipassana really talks about feeling inside of your body. And that's really all I'm going to say about it. But the bottom line here is people that also identify with being highly sensitive or empathic or both, like me, are definitely going to resonate on some level with what it means to just know. You just know. And spending all that time questioning things really tends to just create more pain for you. I have created an immense amount of pain for myself. One, by rejecting who I was because I don't fit into society. What I am is not generally accepted. Other people are, in many cases, intimidated by those little things that can happen where I won't even notice that someone didn't ask a question out loud and I'll answer it. And that freaks them out. They don't like it. But that's who I am. That's what I can do. And I do accept that now. And I also accept that because I am vibrationally getting higher, the more I meditate, the more I just deal with each thing that comes along instead of rejecting it or blocking it or questioning it or trying to leave it. Because if you have it, it's not something that you can just put aside and walk away. You cannot leave it. It will be there all the time. And that's a big lesson for each person to learn on their own. Some of us are able to get in sync with this earlier than others. Some of us need help. Some of us are going to struggle and have a lot harder time dealing with it. The main thing I would suggest, if you're really resonating with what I'm saying, stop trying to fit in. You're not going to fit in. People are going to think that you're strange and weird. And people are also going to not like you. I've had people hate me. And I never understood why. Like, what is wrong with me? But the truth of the matter is, your body has an electromagnetic field. Other people can feel that field. And when they feel something like what we have, that we are good with, it scares them and they react out of fear. And when you react out of fear, that can look like hate. It can look like anger and sadness and rage. It can be abusive. It can be codependent. It can be a lot of things, but it's not healthy. And as you realize that those type of broken people are drawn to you, you also have to make that strong decision to protect yourself from those people. And I definitely learned that the hard way. I've always, always, always attracted people to me that just wanted something from me. And once I understood that that was a lesson I needed to learn, like what you're feeling, go with that. Once I took the lesson into my heart, learned it, accepted it, it's a ironclad force field. And there is a decision, and as an intuitive, you know the decision. Don't question it, just go with it. Because each one can be a lesson. You can go through years of heartache, turmoil, pain, even abuse. Don't go through negative experiences that you don't have to go through. Now, it could be your life lesson, it could be a karmic lesson, it could be part of healing your DNA line. And I have taken on the responsibility of doing all of those things. I have accepted soul lessons, I have accepted this life lessons, I've accepted DNA upgrades, I've accepted the DNA line, just clearing things out that I literally picked up from my great grandparents or descendants long, long, long ago. And, this type of behavior can definitely be passed on. So, learning that you have the power, the ability to just take control and handle it, that's big. So, not everybody out there is going to be able to do it. Not everybody out there is going to have the first time go well. I didn't. I have been doing deep soul searching work for 10 years. And in the last year, I've made more progress than I've made in all of the past years combined. And in the past years, I practiced more techniques than I could count. I consulted with more gurus than I could recount. I've worked with people, I've read books, I've practiced techniques, I've done a lot. And sometimes we just have to go through those things to get to the point where it clicks. And this meditation, the Vipassana meditation, really helped a lot of things click for me. Now, energy work is not mainstream. It's not usually accepted. So there are going to be a lot of you out there that just, you feel like, wow, I don't fit in. How can I go about doing this in the everyday world? And the answer for that is going to be different for each one of us. But the bottom line is, you are probably going to have to distance yourself from most of the people in your life. Most of the people in my life do not understand me. But the people I do let into my everyday life, they love me. And they're okay with the fact that they don't understand me. And that's what the difference is. If you have people in your life that are judging you or making you feel bad for who you are, or telling you things like you're not normal or you shouldn't do that, whatever it is, if they're trying to tell you not to be who you are, you really need to learn how to distance yourself. And sometimes the best thing that you can say is nothing. This is a big, big, big thing to remember. You're not going to be able to convince people who don't believe to believe, especially not on that level. Now, those people may still accept you, but they don't have to believe what you're doing. They don't have to believe in who you know you are. Only you need to do that. And I think I'm going to make a whole separate video about that, because the process of self-love can be a really long process, especially if you've spent your entire life being given reasons not to love yourself. So how could that look? I mean, why wouldn't you love yourself, right? Well, if you find that people say that you're too this or you're too that, they're giving you reasons not to love yourself. If you find that people are telling you that you do things wrong, they're giving you reasons not to love yourself. Now, the differentiation on this is, someone can tell you something and you can just reject it and say, I don't believe that. Thank you for your opinion. Or someone can tell you something and you can accept it. And once you let something come into you and be part of you, then you have accepted it and you have allowed it to change who you are and change how you love yourself. So really getting quiet is the reason meditation is so powerful.